Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really digging into some fascinating sources. They're from the Gambler's Ruin Project, all about the unpredictable world of professional soccer, specifically Major League Soccer.
Right.
Our mission is to pull out the most intriguing data, maybe some surprising stories, tactical details, and really see how complex models and, human intuition kind of dance together in sports prediction.
Yeah, it's a real mix.
We've got stats, injury reports, even a legendary wardrobe malfunction to unpack. It all challenges that idea that logic is always in charge.
And what's immediately striking, I think, is how upfront this material is about the unpredictability of gambling. It directly states gambling equals risk, plain and simple.
No kidding.
And it says even a perfect model can't predict red cards and rain delays. Obvious, maybe, but important. It pushes for responsible betting, emphasizing a 2% bankroll rule.
Betting small, responsibly.
Exactly. Only betting a tiny percentage of your total funds, it instantly sets the stage, reminding us, of the limits, even with powerful AI like SmartBet AI, which is behind a lot of the predictions we'll talk about.
That's a really crucial disclaimer before we dive in. So yeah, let's kick things off. Our first case study. Charlotte FC hosting Orlando City SC Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. The source describes this one as a low-key banger.
Love that.
With the potential to turn truly volatile. Conditions were pretty good, clear, 73 degrees, light breeze, humidity over 60%.
Sounds nice.
Perfect night for soccer, maybe.
Yeah.
Or for things to just go completely off the rails.
It's fascinating because if you look at the data, these teams, they're almost mirror images.
Really? How so?
Well, they share very similar expected goals, the XG. That's the stat measuring chance quality for anyone needing a refresher. They also have comparable injury lists and this frustrating tendency to just defy what the numbers suggest. It really begs the question, when two teams are that evenly matched, how do predictive models even try to separate them? Or can they?
That's exactly what I was wondering. And yeah, the model certainly had mixed feelings. We saw a few different machine learning algorithms here. Random forest, MLP, that's a neural network type, and light GBM.
Okay.
They all lean toward Charlotte.
Okay.
But then XGBoost, which is another powerful model, often more aggressive,
Yeah.
it went rogue, picked Orlando.
Interesting. So one outlier.
Right. And the ensemble model, which blends different model predictions,
Yeah.
it barely tilted toward the hosts. Just barely.
Like a referee trying to split the difference.
Exactly. And then there's Poisson's model, common for predicting goals, right?
Low frequency events.
It predicted Charlotte at 1.30 goals, Orlando at 1.28. The source hilariously called that a decimal dust-up.
Perfect. It's almost like the models are arguing amongst themselves, isn't it? One data set says A, another screams B, and the ensemble model is like the weary parent just trying to find common ground. And what's really insightful here is the bootstrapped simulations. That's where they run tons of mini simulations using the original data.
Okay, and what did those show?
They showed both teams with a potential goal spread between 0 and 4.
0 to 4. Yeah.
Which means, as the source put it, chaos is on the table.
So like a 0-0 snooze fest wouldn't be a shock.
Nope. Or a weird 3-2 blowout. Neither would technically be an upset based on that spread. The key takeaway is just the sheer high variance. Predictability kind of goes out the window.
You really feel that volatility with the Monte Carlo simulations, too. They ran 10,000 simulated matches. Charlotte won 41.2%. Draws hit 26.7%. And Orlando squeaked out 32.1%.
Wow. That is incredibly tight.
Isn't it? It suggests these traditional prediction methods are really pushed to their limits here.
Right.
The real implication is that it shifts things away from certainty. It becomes a whole spectrum of possibilities. Any specific outcome is far from guaranteed.
And it makes complete sense when you factor in Charlotte's home advantage. It's there, but it's not, overwhelming. But here's a fascinating detail from the source.
Yeah.
If you isolate their expected goals after the 70th minute, Charlotte ranks top 5 in MLS.
Ah, so they finished strong.
They are true closers. Orlando, though, bottom 3rd in that same metric.
Oh, interesting contrast.
They're described as a sunset team. They get worse the darker it gets, especially on the road.
Huh. Sunset team.
Yeah. And this isn't just stats. It raises a crucial question about team stamina, tactical adjustments, or maybe the lack of them late in games.
Stamina is huge, especially with that humidity.
Yeah.
What about injuries for this one? Charlotte was missing defender Nathan Byrne, neck issue, and Jelaine Forbes with a hip concern.
Right. Neither is maybe a single massive game changer on their own. But Their absence forces Charlotte to dig deeper into their rotation at the back. Deeper down the bench?
Which could make them shaky.
Could make them shaky in transition if Orlando presses hard early.
Yep.
On Orlando's side, Utara Tsukato was out. Knee injury.
Okay.
Now, this is a bigger hit than you might think. The source calls him the player who unlocks space in tight zones.
Ah, creative player.
Exactly. Without Tsukata, it means more isolation for their key guy, Facundo Torres, and Charlotte's midfield. They live for that. They're set up to exploit that kind of isolation.
Okay, so bringing all these pieces together,
Right.
the tight models, the late game tendencies, the injuries, what were the main angles for how this match might actually play out?
Well, one angle suggested Charlotte would win ugly.
Win ugly. How?
Basically, if the game stayed tight, under 3 total goals, the data favored the home side. But if it opened up, Orlando's vertical switch play, quick switches side to side, could punish a static defense.
Right. Catch them flat-footed.
Yeah. Another perspective leaned towards a draw, just because the XG models were so close. In harmony like a duet, the source said.
Yeah.
Yet another angle believed Charlotte would win, but attributed it purely to the environment. The heat.
The July Carolina heat, causing Orlando to run out of lungs by minute 75. A direct bet on biology, they called it.
Wow. Betting on fatigue.
Pretty much. And the model summary just echoed these tight margins. The close Poisson scores, the ensemble barely leaning Charlotte, and those really balanced Monte Carlo percentages we talked about.
So what about specific betting ideas shared in the source?
A few interesting ones. Charlotte draw, no bet, so you win if they win, push if it's a draw.
Okay, safer.
Under 3.5 goals, a late goal prop, like goal after 75th minute, playing on that fatigue angle.
Makes sense.
Another was a specific correct score. 2-1 Charlotte, with Enzo Capetti as first goal scorer. That's more of a long shot.
Definitely.
And finally, a double chance for Charlotte or draw, combined with both teams to score, yes. So covering a couple outcomes, but needing goals from both sides.
So ultimately, the models hinted at a Charlotte edge, but just barely, right?
By the slimmest of margins, the sentiment was summed up as, Queen City might wear violet, but this match feels blood red underneath. Ooh, I like that. A perfect summary of data nudging one way, but chaos just lurking.
Precisely.
And speaking of chaos and violet, that Charlotte match brings us to an amazing story. It perfectly illustrates how much of this MLS logic optional stuff comes not from data, but from pure, unadulterated belief.
Ah, you're talking about the Kit story.
We have to. Let's take this detour into MLS folklore, a legend born not from tactics, but from a wardrobe malfunction. May 2023, Charlotte versus Atlanta United.
It really raises such an interesting question, doesn't it? How much does that intangible stuff, belief, superstition, actually influence outcomes, even with all this data?
Totally.
So Charlotte's official away whites, they just didn't arrive on time.
Logistics fail.
Big time. Leaving them no choice but to wear their third kit. This deep, electric, royal purple thing. It wasn't even meant for that night. It was like a marketing backup. Pre-season flare kit.
Not the serious match kit.
Not at all. And what happened next?
They didn't just play. They absolutely dominated. A stunning 3-0 win. Controlled possession. Won the XG battle easily. 2.4 to 0.8.
Massive difference.
And the crowd, apparently many didn't even know Charlotte had a purple kit. They started chanting, Violet Storm. Stadium lights reflecting off 70,000 screaming fans. Instant folklore right there.
It's incredible on the immediate impact it had. That kit then went undefeated for the rest of the month.
Undefeated.
3 matches, 3 wins, 0 goals conceded.
Wow.
Suddenly, players refused to warm up in anything else. Coaches stopped calling it the third kit. Internally, it got renamed the Violet Storm, an official mojo magnet.
That is amazing. Did the stats back that up beyond that month?
They really do. Charlotte's win percentage in that kit across all competitions was an astounding 71.4%.
71%. That's huge in soccer.
It's massive. And they intentionally wore in 3 straight home matches after that initial win. Each one was a statement win.
So coincidence. Or something else.
Well, the source hedges a bit. Says, MLS is weird. Could be coincidence.
Wait.
But then it adds, fans believed. And belief is dangerous in this sport.
Ooh, I like that. Belief is dangerous.
And here's the kicker, the twist.
Yeah.
Rumor has it, Charlotte's kit manager requested the violet strip again for the upcoming Saturday match we just discussed against Orlando.
No way. For that match.
Yep. A silent nod to the past, the source calls it, and a silent warning to Orlando.
Wow.
It suggests that even in this world of deep data analysis, psychological factors, superstitions,
Oh, wait.
they can play a powerful, almost undeniable role.
It really highlights that sometimes the biggest insights aren't in a spreadsheet, right? They're in the human psyche.
Or the kit bag.
Exactly.
The kit bag.
Okay, let's switch gears. Let's travel southwest now to Texas. Our next deep dive, Austin FC hosting the LA Galaxy at Q2 Stadium.
Okay, Austin and LA.
Conditions were dry, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, but the turf temperature, closer to 90.
Oof, that turf gets hot.
Yeah, and this match, according to the source, had sneaky high-scoring potential.
Sneaky high scoring. I like that. And what's interesting right off the bat here is the ELO ratings.
The skill level calculation.
Right. It showed near mid-table parity. Galaxy had only a tiny 9-point edge, 1488.4 to Austin's 1479.8. Almost nothing.
So neck and neck by that measure.
Pretty much. And the models also leaned Galaxy, but again, not decisively. Poisson regression favored Galaxy slightly in XG 1.41 to Austin's 1.22.
Still close.
Very. Bootstrapped Poisson suggested high goal potential for both. Austin maybe maxing around 3, Galaxy flirting with 4.
Okay, so goals expected.
Random forest, XG boost, ensemble.
Mm-hmm.
They all leaned Galaxy, but the source described it as a soft nudge.
A soft nudge, not exactly screaming conviction.
Not at all. Which brings up that same question again. How much weight do you actually give these slight model preferences when the underlying signals are so mixed?
That's the real challenge, isn't it? So tactically, how is this expected to play out on the pitch?
Well, LA Galaxy, they like to create what the source called an illusion of control.
Illusion of control.
Yeah, through possession, controlling the tempo, intricate passing triangles, their usual style. But the source suggested that on turf, that dry, under those Texas lights, that control often slips.
How so?
Because the pitch eats legs alive in the second half.
The heat and the turf combo.
Yeah.
Fatigue factor again.
Exactly. And that connects directly to Austin's strength. Their average second half XG at home is 0.83.
That's high, right?
One of the best in the Western Conference. They really build into matches, especially when opponents start cramping up around minute 65.
So tactically, it's a contrast then.
A direct contrast. Galaxy wants to build through the middle, Puig orchestrating everything. Austin, they want to run past that midfield, use long diagonals, stretch plays to the wings, create overloads out wide.
Trying to exploit space.
Yeah, and the source specifically pointed out that LA's fullbacks can get exposed on those second phase counters if they push too high.
Vulnerable on the break.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk key players. Anyone highlighted?
For Austin, Diego Fagundes. Numbers may be quiet lately, but he loves playing at home.
Home cooking.
Totally. 4 of his last 5 goal contributions at home came at Q2, and 3 of those were after the 70th minute.
Another late game threat. Seems to be a theme.
It really does. And for LA, Dejan Veljic.
The striker.
Yeah. Streaky, no doubt. But when the match gets chaotic, stretched, he's described as the guy who finds the loose scraps. Literally a raccoon in the box.
A raccoon in the box. I love it.
Scores when nobody's looking. A real poacher who thrives when things get messy.
Okay. So the model summary for this match. It just reiterated that slight ELO edge for Galaxy, the Poisson scores favoring them slightly, the high goal potential.
Right, the bootstrapped confidence interval range showing that goal range, and the whole model suite giving that soft nudge towards LA.
And the betting ideas reflected that potential messiness.
Yeah, quite varied again. Over 2.5 goals seemed popular.
Makes sense with the high potential.
A correct score dart throw of a 2-2 draw. Both teams to score plus over 2.5 combo bet. Other angles were first goal for LA Galaxy. That late goal prop again, over 75 minutes because, it's Texas, fatigues the 12th man.
Good line.
And a safer option like Galaxy draw no bet. It really highlights how you can apply these varied insights from data to fatigue into different prediction angles.
So the overall feeling was this wasn't some huge season-defining clash.
Not really. More like a perfect bet builder match. Meaning lots of variance, lots of late swings. Good for finding specific betting angles, maybe not for predicting the outright winner with confidence.
Gotcha. And the advice was pretty clear.
Yeah. Just don't go full unit on a clean sheet either way. It was expected to be messy. Goals on both sides seemed likely.
Okay, so we've covered quite a range here. From advanced stats like random forest and Monte Carlo.
Yep.
To the undeniable impact of kit superstitions.
The Violet Storm.
And the very real factor of tactical heat stroke in Texas. It truly highlights how MLS, despite all the sophisticated data and models we throw at it, continually reminds us that logic is optional once the whistle blows.
It really does. And what's so illuminating is the humility baked into the source material itself.
How so?
It openly acknowledges that even after simulating 10,000 outcomes, you can still lose. Because of utterly unpredictable stuff. They gave examples like someone slipping on a Gatorade cap near the sidelines.
Seriously.
Or a backup left back who hasn't played in weeks, suddenly scoring a 35-yard banger in the 93rd minute.
That happens.
It does. They even called that kind of thing voodoo.
Voodoo? Love it.
It raises that important question about the fundamental limits of prediction in truly dynamic human systems. There's always an element you just can't model.
It really seems like MLS has this unique knack for short-circuiting expectations faster than you can say plus odds.
Huh. That's a great way to put it.
Just when you think you've got it figured out. Nope. Something completely wild happens.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the core message from the Gambler's Ruin Project seems incredibly clear. The models guide, but the pitch decides.
Simple but profound.
And sometimes it decides in the dumbest, most beautiful way possible.
That perfectly captures it, the human element, the sheer unpredictability at the heart of sports.
Absolutely.
So this deep dive, it's really shown us that intricate dance, hasn't it? Between the sophisticated data analysis and the beautiful, messy unpredictability of real-world events.
Definitely.
It challenges us, I think, to consider where that objective logic ends and where pure chance, or maybe even powerful belief, begins.
And it's also just crucial to remember, as the source, the Gambler's Ruin Project, explicitly states...
Disclaimer again.
Yeah, their content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. All predictions are AI generated. They really hammer home that gambling can be addictive and encourage everyone strongly to bet responsibly. They make it clear they aren't a bookmaker, they don't encourage gambling, they even provide resources.
Like the helplines.
Exactly. The National Problem Gambling Helpline number, 1-800-522-4C000 in North America. And BeGambleAware in the UK, 0808-802-ME-133, or begambleaware.org.
That's really important context.
It's vital. It's a reminder that understanding these complex systems is valuable, but most valuable when it's applied responsibly and safely.
So, thinking beyond the soccer pitch, what does this all mean for you listening? Perhaps it's just a powerful reminder that even the most meticulously analyzed situations in your own life can defy expectations. What unpredictable factor, what bit of voodoo or belief might be at play in a situation you're trying to understand, that data alone just can't capture.
That's a great question to ponder.
And maybe consider this. How much of our decision-making in life is based on predictive models, on logic, and how much relies on embracing a bit of chaos, or even fighting your own rogue violet kit, metaphorically speaking?
Right.
And how knowing the difference between those two things, that might just be the most important bet of all.